Okay.
Poses. I'm like trying to mimic you. I'm like, ah. And my grandma did some research. She's a psychologist on my mom's side, and I went to go live in the woods for 2 years.
In the woods?
In the
With
woods.
who?
with other people. Very interesting experience. I think very grateful it happened, because when I flash forward to now
you gotta give us a brief, detailed rundown of how was life in the woods, like, because I wasn't expecting no one.
Yeah,
I
no.
know you stayed in the woods there. You don't look like it.
Yes, no, that's why I love nature. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm I'm super earth energy.
Yes.
So now it all makes sense. During the time, it was traumatizing for me, because it was a lot of abandonment. I felt like my parents just left me and just
the
wolves, literally the wolves, right? in the middle of it. However, for the first time in my life, I was able to deal with my feelings and
one for the birds.
I know I have this video somewhere. I posted it. Or somewhere I can snatch from it. Or I saved it somewhere. So
Carrie,
You are now tuned in to Hits 92.3, where we take great pride in personal expression of one's feelings, thoughts, or ideas. What you're getting ready to hear on this show are the opinions of the host and their guests, and they do not reflect the opinions of Hits 92.3 radio station, the brand, management, staff, their respective advertisers, parent companies, or affiliates. Now stay tuned as this shuffle begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, it's your girl Marquita Beyond, the host of the Pink Link, and I am excited to be here with you all once again. This is where we have powerful, innovative, next level conversations with the K, because we fancy hunty. So it's lunchtime, and y'all know I like to do lunch with y'all, and today I'm actually doing lunch. I got me a fruit, some pineapple in the building, and so we always do our Wisdom Wiser, which is our appetizer, entrees with entrepreneur and community news, desserts that we've redefined that have you fine and geared to shine mentally, physically, and spiritually. Now, with that being said, some days we may get too stuffed and skip dessert, but you will still leave full of purpose. So, y'all know we hop right into it with our Wisdom Wiser, and this is some from notes that I took. And with the Wisdom Wiser, it's just something that we focus on: a scripture, quote, devotional to help us all become more wiser, to rise higher. And so this one is from Tony Robbins. I like this guy. Definitely put me on to the book Asking It Is Given, I would say. And so this quote by him, it says, the only impossible journey is the one you never begun. And I just love that, because if you haven't even started, then hey, how can you say it's impossible if you haven't even started? So you not starting is the impossible, because you haven't put yourself in a place to bring forth what could happen once you get started. And so we do have a guest today, and I want to just introduce her, and her name is Amber, so we can get her thoughts on the Wisdom Wiser. So welcome, girl.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited and blessed for this opportunity.
Well, I thank you for blessing us with your presence. It's such a pleasure. So what would be your take on the Wisdom Wiser for today?
Well, I love that quote by Tony Robbins. He's obviously a well-known motivational speaker, but I would say fear, right? Because a lot of us have that fear, and it's the unknown that makes us not want to do it. But there's another quote, I don't know by who, but they say your biggest fear is your biggest strength, right? Exactly. So when you cross over, you never know what may be in store for you. So that's kind of what I would say regarding the quote and just what you presented.
I love that, because many times it is fear that is just holding you back from that next level of greatness and doing the impossible. And then once you just step out and be like, well, dang, that wasn't that bad. And the more and more you do it, the more and more you become, comfortable in that area of your life. So you just gotta step out of your comfort zone to get comfortable in doing something that you haven't done.
Exactly.
And then do the next thing. Continue to step out of your comfort to be able to bring forth comfortability.
Yes.
So let go of that fear. So y'all, Miss Amber gonna tell you all a little bit more about herself, and we're gonna get into our first break afterwards, and we're gonna come back with Amber the soul therapist.
All right.
Okay. So we're gonna move on to faith, forgiveness, fearless, or fumble. Which one you want to choose to discuss today?
Forgiveness. I like forgiveness.
Okay, what's your topic on forgiveness today?
Okay, so as a therapist for mental health, and then I also do the holistic stuff. I've come across a lot of research in my own personal experiences that maybe forgiveness is one of those things that we could think of it, change the perspective a little bit and start with compassion, right? Because forgiveness is forgiving someone because of what they've done to you, right? Or what you've done to yourself. And compassion is more putting yourself in that other person's shoes, showing unconditional love, seeing that person in their divine light despite whatever it is that they have done. So I would say forgiveness and compassion, adding that extra component and having it for ourselves, because a lot of the times we can't overcome traumas or situations with others until we are able to overcome that with ourselves, right?
I love that.
So
first you gotta forgive yourself to be able to forgive them.
absolutely.
Forgive yourself for what maybe you have allowed or welcomed, into your life, or how you brought about your part in this situation, because whether we want to admit it or not, we always play a part.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
Forgive. Okay, so who y'all forgiving today? And start with you. I said that last week. I forgive me, and I mean that's like a consistent thing, to take out time and just forgive yourself, because sometimes we do things and then we can be kind of hard on ourselves. I was just telling them how I deleted the whole episode last week, and it was, thank God it was just me on there, and I was just like, in that moment, I think I would just allow myself grace and just forgave me for just like in the not taking time to do what I should have been doing in the correct format and setting. And the setting I was in allowed me to make that error.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to just forgive me and keep on rolling, hunty. So y'all, we've started this thing off on a positive note, and we're gonna take a quick praise break that is, and we'll be back. It's your girl Marquita Viana on his 92.3 ATL. I think you need to go. Oh, you was recording. You want me to zoom it out so you can get it like on us, or you can put it back there.
Put it back more.
Yeah. Okay, so we're back. Your girl Marquita Viana on his 92.3 ATL with Amber, the soul therapist, and we about to get more into who she is and what it is that she does. So introduce yourself to the audience, girl.
Yeah. So as just mentioned, I'm Amber, the soul therapist. I am not originally from Atlanta. I moved to Atlanta about a year and a half ago. I'm originally from Huntington Station, Long Island, which is right off of like the Hamptons over in New York. So it's not in the city and it's not upstate. It's its own little island. So my journey, let's say, started off, had a rough upbringing, chaos when it comes to my parents and their relationship and the upbringing. I grew up on Section 8, food stamps, Medicaid, all that kind of stuff, which I'm very grateful for.
Right.
Because especially when it comes to school, for college and stuff, I got a lot of free funding for that. So that also, with that being said, I also lived in a low income area and neighborhood, right? So
and you say this is in the Hamptons area, or once you moved?
It's this is in Long Island. So Long Island is close to the Hamptons. Well, it's on the Hamptons. It's basically it's on the same island. So I'm just giving context, because a lot of the times people are like, Long Island, like what's Long Island?
Right.
It's the same island that Queens is on as well. So it's like Queens is in the beginning, and then you have Manhattan here, and then you have the Hamptons out closer to the end. So where I lived was in Suffolk County. So that's like further out on the end. And growing up as a kid, you know, I am biracial. I'm Native American, Black, and white, and never was treated like a person that was white. I was always treated, a lot of people think I'm Hispanic, but I was always treated poorly, especially in Long Island. A lot of racism growing up. The second precinct where we were from, I mean, I would have my boyfriend in the car, they would pull us over for no reason. It was just like constant harassment.
So, and you was talking about New York, because many times when I say Mississippi, just to, not to interrupt you, but I was talking to a New Yorker the other day, he was like, Mississippi, all the racism that's going there. I'm like, baby, racism is everywhere, not just Mississippi. So for you to just tell your experience from being from New York, that just goes to show.
Very different experience, very segregated. Things have changed now, right? I mean, when I was a kid, it was a different story. But so I was a troublemaker. I experienced a lot of different trauma growing up and acted out by being disrespectful and fighting and not caring about anyone and what they had to say. So when I was 16, I was expelled from school, from high school, and my grandma did some research. She's a psychologist on my mom's side, and I went to go live in the woods for 2 years.
In the woods? With who?
with other people. Very interesting experience. I think very grateful it happened, because when I flash forward to now.
Now you gotta give us a brief, detailed rundown of how was life in the woods, like. Cause I wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, no.
I know you stayed in the woods there. You don't look like it.
Yes, no. That's why I love nature. I'm a Capricorn, so I'm super Earth energy.
Yes.
So now it all makes sense. During the time, it was traumatizing for me because it was a lot of abandonment. I felt like my parents just left me and just
the
wolves, literally the wolves, right? in the middle of it. However, for the first time in my life, I was able to deal with my feelings and get disciplined, because I didn't have discipline.
Who was it? Was it physical discipline?
No, it was discipline. Like if I was disrespectful, did something I wasn't supposed to do, I would have to go dig a stump out of the ground. Or I would have to have huge wheelbarrows full of sand or dirt and bring them up and down 50 times. Like, more labor.
So let me ask you this, because you said you didn't have discipline. So to be in an environment to where now you're having discipline, so how did you, comply, from a young girl who did what she wanted to do? Was it a fear of the people you didn't know and what would happen if you didn't do these things? Mm-hmm. What made you start, complying to their rules?
Eventually, I realized that I wasn't leaving anytime soon, so I came to that realization. But the big thing for me was, many times I was like, I'm leaving. But I was in the middle of the woods.
So where you gonna go?
Exactly. So that's what really scared me, because we were living out in the woods with bears, coyotes, mountain lions, all different types of animals. So I didn't want to step out and die in the woods. So I was like, you know what?
Tough and rough.
I think I'm gonna stay here. And honestly, the discipline and structure was very important. Like my dad would discipline me physically as a child. I used to get my butt whooped from anything under the sun. It didn't matter what it was. And my mom didn't believe in hitting, right? So very different balance. But when I was there, I thrived in structure.
Wow.
And was able to graduate, and things changed. So that was a huge part in my life. But I have such a love for nature. And one thing I say, and my mom says it all the time, that she could put me in the middle of nowhere and I'm going to not survive. I'm going to thrive.
Thrive. Okay.
So it doesn't matter where I am. And I think it's a beautiful thing, because I ended up coming to Atlanta by myself. And I've been here meeting you and other amazing people where...
And girl, she won the walk in the fashion show. Like, hey,
yes, thank you.
For coming and supporting.
And I still have, the money banner
The check.
in my office. Yep.
Oh my gosh, girl, you gotta send me a picture of that.
I sure do.
If y'all want to definitely support that this year and make help me to make it happen again, I definitely would appreciate it. I definitely need to do my run on it because I enjoyed that thoroughly. It was amazing.
That was a great experience.
So, girls, you gave us a brief detail of your childhood and those things. So, from that, how did you then embark on your holistic journey? What brought about those aspirations for you?
So my grandma was full-blooded Native American Indian, Cherokee Indian, and she died when I was 5. But very into holistic remedies, and I've always been into earth, nature, plants, crystals, rocks, all that kind of stuff. It's always been a part of me, but what really got me into it even more, where I immersed my whole being into it, was the death of my brother.
Do you mind if I ask how did he pass?
Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine. I processed a lot, so I don't break down and cry as often as I used to. So he was 21, my only brother and only sibling. It was just us, and he liked to experiment with different things. So my brother was very kind of like me, very holistic.
Right.
But he was more carefree, and I'm like, no, scared when it comes to things. So he did LSD, and he's done it times before, and he was very calculated. Like, my brother was so smart. He was going to college. He ended up leaving college, but he was going to college for quantum physics because he knew that there was something more out there. He believed that there were different dimensions. I mean, this kid would meditate and just do all different types of things. So what happened is one day he was under a trip, is what they call, and he responded not normally. So the police were like, what's going on? His friends were like, what's going on? And they told him they just ended up taking a trip or whatever. So they brought him to the hospital, and they thought he was psychotic and had psychosis, and they administered a whole bunch of antipsychotic drugs. And basically, antipsychotic drugs are drugs that are used for individuals that have a chemical imbalance in the brain. With my brother, he didn't have a chemical imbalance. He was just going through a trip.
The LSD stuff.
And as a result, he just was not the same. He had Haldol, Ativan, certain types of drugs that you would give someone who's schizophrenic, very severe mental health diagnoses. So after he took that medication, he was not the same. During that process, when I went to go see him in the emergency room, I called one of my friends. My dad was there too. I called one of my friends, and he prayed over my brother. And all of a sudden, my brother was back to himself. He was talking, like being him. I'm like, okay, thank God, because I'm like, this is crazy. My heart was broken when I walked in there. And then maybe an hour or so later, he was getting ready to be admitted. He just went back into that. Yeah, and it just never came back from it. He tried, with taking the medication. He said he didn't like the medication. It made him not feel himself, very uncomfortable. And at that point, he was living with me and my ex at that point, and we were just there supporting him in whatever capacity. So my background's in social work, right? So I went to school, I got my master's in social work. So I've already had experience working with individuals with severe mental illnesses, autistic spectrum, developmentally disabled, all those different things. So in a way, I was able to support my brother kind of through that process. Long story short, he ended up going back into the hospital because he stopped taking the meds. He just was really regressing. And he got physical. Now, one thing, if some people know, with a lot of these antipsychotic drugs and stuff that they pump people up with, some people turn into the Incredible Hulk.
Yes, okay? I know. Strong. That stuff makes them strong.
Extremely strong. And he ended up, I guess, breaking down the psych ward doors. I don't know. This is what they said. And they sedated him. And then they brought him to the ICU, and he was restrained by his arms, right, his wrist and his ankles, and for 3 days they did not move him. What ended up happening is healthy, young, 21-year-old boy, he ended up having a blood clot in his left leg that went to his heart and his heart.
So sad.
It was,
Oh, girl, I didn't know it was. Oh,
it was something that was
my
just
heart goes out to you and your family.
so crazy. And one of the things that made me leave home was, I'm a strong believer, you can't really heal in the same environment you've been traumatized in.
Whew, girl, say that again.
And having, right, like you
Wow.
can't, and having that constant reminder of like where I live, oh, passing the hospital, my old house, this and that, like,
You're preaching, because I was just telling someone, I said the other day, I said I love Mississippi not only because ex, my, I'll leave it at that, ex. But then I lost my mom, I lost my sister, going by their graves and in their old house, and just what we had there, and that it was like that burden was on me constantly of mourning and missing them,
Yes,
and them
yes.
not being present there. And I think it was also that added to it. That was one of the factors I think that led me to my decision. But 'cause I still miss them more than I'm out here, but it was just like a more heavier burden I felt when I was out there.
Yes. Well, look at the scene.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that. You see how energies connect
yes.
on the same, because it really is about that. And so that, and never got justice. The hospital that ended up doing it to him, I mean, is a monster in New York. And I mean, every lawyer under the sun we tried to get, no one wanted to touch the case. So for me, that was really hard, because I originally went to school for social justice. I never wanted to be a therapist. Life
Right.
ended up bringing me along that way. I wanted to be, a mayor. I wanted to be out there changing policy and doing
Right.
all these different things. And the fact that I wasn't able to advocate and get justice for my brother really just was hard on my soul. So after he passed, I just started, I would say, just getting more into myself, but also into the pain and the trauma and everything that I've experienced. And I ended up realizing after the fact, and everyone has different beliefs, so I'm just going to throw this out there. This is my perspective, especially because when my friend prayed over him, he came back, right? So something was telling me, like, I feel like maybe some spirit or energy went into my brother.
Yeah, that's
And everyone has
demons are
different
real.
beliefs.
Demons are real.
I
Like,
mean,
they was talking about that recently when that pastor told that lady to stop, and what spirit was in her for 4 years that she was doing praising in her mind or world, and for 4 years like she was, and evil spirits can dwell in certain people. I definitely believe so. And it's I don't know what your faith or religion, but it's even in the Bible. The man that was begging for money and or something, I think in front. Let me get off the subject because I want to have the story correct. But they had to cast out many evil spirits and demons in the Bible. That was in people. So
yes,
people take things lightly, like the enemy isn't real and spirits are not real today, and those things are still existing today, just like the blood, the goodness of the Lord and all those things exist. Those things still exist as well. Like,
no, absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, sometimes I try to tread lightly when it comes to certain things, because some people don't believe in certain things, and that's fine. They don't have to believe in that. So I came to the conclusion that something else happened there. And that's what really wanted me to get into Reiki and shamanism.
Okay, because I'm going to ask you some more questions, but I hope we have time to come back into that too.
Yeah.
Because I want to know, what are some of the key benefits of holistic healings, and how can the listeners start incorporating those things into their daily lives, so we can make sure we also touch on,
Yes, absolutely, yes. So holistic healing is a very vague term. So it could be it could be on one spectrum where it's Reiki, and it could be on one spectrum where it's meditating.
Right. So tell me more about Reiki, because I've heard about it, and then I know with my faith and under the teachers I'm under, like certain things my bishop he preaches like against, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Though I don't knock what other people do, like with Reiki
Mm-hmm.
and you know, the what's that they burn, the
Sage
and stuff like that. He feel like, you know, and I see someone else posted like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people using certain things, you know, when it's only one thing, and it's just really, like we were saying, depending on your faith and what you believe.
Yes.
So what is Reiki,
Okay.
and how have it worked for you and your clients?
Yes.
per se?
Okay, so Reiki, the term Reiki itself is a Japanese term, right? That comes from the Japanese culture, which is to basically heal with universal light. So I'm glad you said what you said, because the questions you said is what I get all the time. So I originally really never wanted to get certified in Reiki, because Reiki is something that we all have. We already have it. So when you said that, like, well, it's coming from one source, well, you are a creation of God, right? That one source, which means its DNA and its energy resides in you.
Right.
So this is energy that we all naturally have. The only difference with you and myself, right, is that I'm attuned to a certain frequency, right? Like how we listen to music that amplifies that energy. So Reiki is natural healing energy within your body. It's associated a lot with the chakras. If people know what the chakras are, they are different energy centers within the body. There's 7 main ones, but there's a lot more than that. But the 7 main ones is usually what people focus on. And with Reiki, what I focus on is bringing balance. So each chakra is associated with a different mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual quality or challenge of some sort. So for instance, let's say I'm doing a reading and something's telling me to go to the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is our womb area, right? Our creativity. At the same time, that's where a lot of trauma, any trauma from abuse, physical, sexual, mental, financial abuse, is stored and stuck there.
And that's how disease breeds within your gut, because so many people have went through so much
Trauma.
and it's trauma and things that they haven't gotten to the root of.
Exactly. So all that energy, you said it perfectly. Dis-ease, illness, is all of these mental and emotional things literally turning and manifesting in the body as cancer, as diabetes, as whatever it is, right? So Reiki helps balance that energetic side of things, right? So, and traditionally we focus on mind, body, right? And soul, right? But what about our aura? What about how I'm here with you right now? Our auras are connecting, right? So you're picking up on my energy, I'm picking up on yours. When you go to the store and someone's being rude or some road rage, right?
Yes.
You're picking up on that energy. If you know it or not, you are carrying that energy with you, unless you either cleanse your field, right? That's where sage and Palo Santo come in.
Okay.
So it's interesting you said that too.
Would be like, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus.
Well, actually, one thing is in the Catholic tradition. So the Bible is very magical.
Yes.
There's a whole lot going on in there, and there's a lot of protection. A lot of prayers are protection,
Yes.
right? So in the Catholic religion, they use, I don't know if you see the guy that has the little incense thing, right? He walks around with the incense thing, and inside it, he has frankincense, okay?
Wow.
Frankincense is known spiritually, right? So if you go to like a spiritual religious store, they will have frankincense because it gets rid of negative energy. It cleanses it out and it protects at the same time. So back to Reiki. Reiki goes all the way back to ancient Samaria and ancient Egypt. And it was called the laying of the hands. It's called the same thing in church, the laying of the hands.
Yeah.
So it's Reiki is just a different term, focused from Japan, right? But Reiki is something we all do. When you hurt yourself, don't you sit there and you hold yourself a certain way, or right, your child gets hurt and you give them a kiss, right? That is Reiki. So I think, unfortunately, the word has, a negative connotation sometimes to it.
And when people don't know, they, I guess, form their own thoughts around certain things, and that's why I wanted to have you on, because I'm like, okay, I want to know.
Yeah, like what
I want to know what she over there doing, because
Yeah.
I know what my leadership teaches, of surrounding certain things, but like I don't see a knock, because I know everyone has their own journey, and I can't. And a lot of the things that people are doing stem from, Buddhism and the oldest Christian religions, Judaism and things like that.
Yes.
And so Christianity was birthed from those things.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
that's what I wanted to ask myself.
Yeah, no, I get that question
Like
all
my
the
mom
time.
said, ask the horse's mouth. But so could you share maybe a specific example of a story that you helped a client come out of, something that they was dealing with and they've had a success?
Yes, actually, so funny. So maybe 2 weeks ago, or no, maybe it was last week, I went to an ATL Rising event and I did a Reiki session on one of the women, and it's been about a month since I've seen her, and I was like, how are things going? And when she first came in, her energy was very clean. I could say that, right? Like, you can tell certain things, very clean, but there was some stuff going on with her third eye. And our third eye has a lot.
Third eye. I be hearing third eye a lot, y'all.
Third eye has to do with the unseen, right? So it has to do with the inner side, your intuition, right?
Okay.
The meditation, seeing the illusion, right? Like, everyone has a different opinion, but the movie Matrix, there's a lot of truth to a lot of that, right? So there's the illusion. Like, are you able to discern the difference? Like, is this real or is this not real? And with all this AI stuff coming on, we're about to be in a whole other world. So discernment and being able to see, is this real? Is this actually like a human being? Is this a clone? Is this a AI animation or whatever? Is going to be very important. I kind of lost my train of thought because I just went on a tangent regarding.
But you were saying
that.
She had some stuff going on with her third eye.
Yes, so her third eye was the area. So I ended up, I took a crystal, and everything is based off of energy. It just comes to me, right? So it's like, okay, do this, do this, do that. And basically, she said she just like experienced like something like just removing, like from her, like she was able to see clearly. So fast forward to when I saw her, she told me that, things have been going really well. She's been working on her meditations, tapping in more, getting into that spiritual, soul side of things. She said her and her relationship has been great. Like, she's really been working more on, communicating and how things have been going. So that's just an example, and just one session, basically one time, but just more harmony, because that's what Reiki's going to do. It's going to bring balance.
I love that.
It's going to help you clear up what you need to. And I gave her some things because, like I said, I love the chakras, because I use the chakras also in therapy as well, if my clients are open to it, because they're associated with certain things, right? Like, the third eye has to do with what lies are you telling yourself? Because that negative thought, oh, I'm not good enough, oh, you're never going to be anything, you're not worthy, those are not your true thoughts.
Right. But they're gonna come.
Yes, of course they're gonna come, and that's when you train your brain. It's a hard process, but it's a process to stop yourself. Like, no, that's not true. I'm amazing, right? But someone at your life at some point probably told you that, and you started to believe it. So what lies do you tell yourself? And she was able to do some journal prompts. I like to use the 5 senses when it comes to the different chakras. So I'll give them something they can feel, taste, touch, do, whatever the case it may be. And she seems, just from that one time, she seems like she's balanced. And she was telling me, she's like, oh, I'm coming to the drum circle. Let me know when you got the Reiki session going on, all that stuff. So I was like, good. So that's just one little recent example of working with someone.
Amazing. Congrats on that success.
Thank you.
We all want success in what we're doing,
And that's the one thing is like, I really don't like to call myself a healer because I don't do anything. It's always the individual that puts in that effort, right?
That's what I said. I can guide you, but at the end of the day, you're gonna have to do the work
yourself.
Yeah, as a coach, life coach.
Absolutely.
And I love that you say energy is. I like to say energy is transferable. It is definitely because this week this guy was like, you was just going through a lot, but you just was still smiling at the same time. Like your spirit, it's just something about your spirit. And I get that a lot, I guess, because you have to just let things roll and keep it flowing. Like it's too much that can affect you on a day-to-day basis for you to let simple things get you caught up,
Absolutely.
Because it definitely throw your energy out. And I was like, okay, that means I've been doing good on the work, that I've been doing.
Yes.
Because I was definitely a little like razzle and razzling my feathers. My feathers was ruffled. But for him to say that even though I was, frustrated, that my spirit to him came out so well in handling what I was experiencing.
Yes.
So that was good for someone else to notice that.
Yes.
And then that energy just transferred.
Yes.
Yes, girl.
I love it. I like that
So
term.
we're gonna do a little which one? We're gonna choose one today.
Okay.
You wanna do the word of the day or the joke of the day? Because we gotta get back into this conversation. Let me know, girl.
Let's do the joke of the day.
Okay.
Some laughter.
Well, it's Quita's time to crack, so don't call it whack. So here we have it. We don't have a knock neither. Why didn't the Melons get married? Amber, why didn't the Melons get married?
Oh gosh, I'm not good at coming up with these things. Because
you got 3 seconds.
they wanted to. They couldn't make a melody. I don't know.
Well, you was close. You was close because they cantaloupe.
Oh, that's great. That's good. They can't elope. I'm
Right.
done.
Yes.
I'm done. Okay,
I
that
thought
was good.
so cute and
Yeah, I'm not
funny.
good with them. I like the after effect. Maybe trying to get to the answer, struggling a little bit.
I was like, oh, that's so cute and funny. So yeah, we gotta do the what would you do, Ricky side of things, but we got like a little sprinkle of different scenarios for her today. But we definitely got to go to the Ricky side. So this scenario is client's discomfort, Amber. It said you are a Reiki practitioner incorporating crystals into your session. One day a new client arrives for their first session and expresses discomfort about the use of crystals, stating they prefer a more traditional Reiki approach. What would you do? How do you address the client's concerns first?
Okay, I would validate their concerns and say, I respect that. If it's the first time meeting them, I'm not going to pry and be like, oh, well, why don't you like them? Or do you want to learn more, right? First, I have to build that rapport and trust with you before we dig a little bit deeper, because there might be a little bit more to it, and I'm not going to be like, oh, well, you should learn this or do that. So I would respect what they say. Now, I don't always use crystals and Reiki, right? I also have background in crystal healing as well. So in that case, if they wanted more of a traditional approach, I would just do Reiki, like traditional Reiki, right? What I would do is probably use frequencies. I love frequencies, so I would use a specific frequency for the chakra.
Sound.
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Yes,
I
frequency.
love that.
Yes. So like hertz. There's something called the solfeggio scale, which is fantastic when it comes to healing. So, and it's some of them are associated with the chakra. So I would do more of that. Maybe add some aromatherapy if they're interested, right? If they need some calming, use some lavender, maybe some lemongrass, chamomile.
Girl, you about to make me go to sleep with all that lavender and all that.
Exactly. Calm, like,
I
right?
feel it just from her explaining. I'm like, my eyes like
Calm, like grounding, right? So that's what I would say. And then I would also, of course, ask, well, what would you like? If you say you want traditional Reiki, can you tell me what you think traditional Reiki is? And then I would do what they would like to incorporate.
I love that answer. Great answer. Okay, so a scenario 3, skeptical family member. You know, it's gonna be somebody trying to talk somebody out of doing something that could benefit them. A client brings their teenager to you for Reiki and crystal healing to help with anxiety. The daughter seems interested, but a family member who accompanied them is openly skeptical about the entire practice, expressing concerns about its legitimacy and effectiveness. How do you handle the skepticism of the family member while ensuring the daughter feels comfortable and open to the healing process?
Okay, so that's
the
right.
same.
That's that happens, right? So because the child is not of 18, right, of the age of 18, mom's permission and consent is always priority. So if mom is against it, I would educate. In that case, I'd be like, okay, depending on, everyone's different, because some people might be like, oh, it's not happening. But there's also a part, if you brought your daughter there, your child there, there's a part of you also may be curious and wants to learn more and also support your child through that process.
Exactly. Like my son, he's into something.
Okay.
And I don't do it, but I feel like if it's something that's gonna help him and it ain't, harmful, I mean, it's supposed to be more natural, holistic way of, for things and common. So I support him on it, and I just express he's gonna be 18 next month, So hey, he could be doing other stuff. So
yes, absolutely.
So it's one of those things.
Yes, and one thing, what I would do is,
and they informed me, not because you up to date. She did the same thing. She just told me everything.
Okay. Yeah, because it's. You don't want to push it too much, but I also think that there's probably some reason why you're here, because you would have never even came all the way there. I am a big fan of research, so I will have receipts, literally. So experiments, right, on how things work. Like there's Dr. Emoto, I'm probably saying his name completely different. But he's this gentleman who played frequency, and there were different shapes of the snowflakes based off of what was said to it, right? So there are different experiments out there, and sometimes people do better hearing it from a doctor or professional too, clinically, but sometimes they feel better hearing it from someone else. So give them that background. Yes, that's what I would do.
But girl, we about to get ready to wrap it up, and so I kind of want to ask one of the what would you do off topics right fast and get your quick response. So this one will be relationships. Okay, quickly. If you plan because I had to do this one. If you plan a romantic evening with your partner, but they have arrived home clearly stressed from work and not in the mood to engage, what would you do? And this is off the Reiki.
Okay.
We're trying to see your emotional intelligence level up in here.
So I would say change perspective and meet him where he is, or her where they are. So, hey babe, I realize you seem a little stressed. We had plans. Do you want to order in, watch a movie? Is there anything I can do to help you? And reschedule that other session, because a lot of the times we get in our ego and we're like, oh no, why would you do that?
Off.
Exactly. So if you really want to be there and for that partner, we have those times too, because we come home sometimes like I'm good. I'm good.
Not in the mood today.
Rock with it. So I would try to make a time to spend with him at home, make it comfortable, and then reschedule whatever it is. Right?
I love that answer. Girl, okay,
So that's what I would say.
Okay. We had similarities. So y'all, it's a support part of the show. We can't let Amber, the soul therapist, leave without telling us what she has going on, what tea you have brewing, so that we can support. So what is it, girl?
Yeah, so let's see. So next weekend, I will be at the Women's Expo in Duluth, if I'm saying it right. I'm excited for that opportunity. So I'll be there with crystals. I'll have teas. I'll have oils. I also make crystal tiaras. A whole bunch of fun stuff, so I'll be there doing that. So come down, enjoy. If you're interested in getting a free ticket, I have some free tickets. You would just have to DM me on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram at Amber the Soul Therapist. Then June 29th, which is two Saturdays basically from now, I will be hosting a healing drum circle at Pop Up and Create, and that will be from 2 to 4 p.m. So if you guys are around, interested, and wanting to learn a little bit more, because one thing is that's why I call myself the soul therapist. I do a little bit of everything. So big into the drumming, big into dancing, big into singing, whatever it is, any creative expression to heal ourselves, I am all about.
And all those things bring all that out of you. So get moving, get to sitting quietly, whichever, do it.
Exactly.
So I thank you once again for coming on, lady.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening. And as always, I say, remember, you are great in the life you desire, you create. So get to create today. It's your girl, Marquita Viano. He's 92.3 ATL. Great, girl.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Oh, that was great.
Girl.
And I love your questions too, because they're questions that I get all the time.
Right. I meant to tell you I was going to ask that, because I know Bishop be saying like,